Thank you, Ken, and thank you everybody for making it out here today. It's good to see everybody. It's good to be back at Seabreeze. It's the first time I've been back since pre-COVID, but it's good to see you guys. What we're going to do today, we've got just a couple of the most common user maintenance things that you all can do to keep your Segways running efficiently and safely. We're going to talk about how to check the air pressure and how to fill the tires with air. That yes, they do have air in them. I know some of you think they're airless, but they do require air. We're going to talk about correcting the position of your handlebar if it starts to lean in one direction. And we're also going to talk about the info key. If the info key battery starts to get low, we're going to show you how to change that. We're going to start off with the tires. That's probably the most complex and one of the most important things that you can do on a regular basis to keep your Segway running efficiently. Just like with your car or your golf cart, there's a preset tire or air pressure that needs to be in your tires at all times. If you drop below that, you start to impact the efficiency or the range of your Segway. So the factory recommendation is 15 pounds per square inch, so 15 PSI. If your tire pressure gets down around 7 or 8 PSI, that's only half the air that it takes to run it, right? So that means your motor, your battery, all the parts inside have to work twice as hard to push you along. That results in more wear and tear on the internal components, and also, the main thing you'll notice right off the bat is it reduces the range that you can go on a battery charge. With the standard batteries, you would normally get 2.5 to 3 miles for each bar on your key. And that is not going to happen if you let that pressure go down. So I know some of you in here are cyclists. I only recently became a cyclist, but one thing I do before every single ride is I check the air pressure in my tires. It's always dropping. It's just that, the air goes out through the rubber, and that's the way it is. But that way I make sure my tires are properly filled, and I'm going to get all the range I can with less pedaling. But what it also does is if you ran over something on your last Segway ride, and you don't check the pressure before your next ride, you're not going to know you have a flat tire necessarily until you get to where you're going, and you start riding sideways and look down and go, uh-oh. So it's just a good habit. Just fill them up before you go on a ride, and you're going to be safe. You don't want to get stranded out somewhere. Okay, so we're going to use Ken's Segway as a demonstrator, and you'll notice we have a little 2x4 down here on the floor. This is one of the easiest ways to check the air pressure. You don't check it with the board, obviously, but that's the first step in getting it into a position where you can do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to run the Segway up over that board, and we're going to let right about in the center, and then we're just going to gently lay it down like this. Now what this allows you to do is to lean the Segway over to one side and turn the wheel easily. And if you look right, I don't know how many of you can see it, but we're going to get this on video, hopefully. Somebody said they saw it. There it is. Okay, can we get this on the camera here?
I'm going to advance.
Right up in there.
Ollie,
that's your valve stem. Okay. So once you've got that in place, you're just going to unscrew the little black cap off of the valve stem. And you're going to take your handy dandy air pump. This just happens to be one that we use in our shop in our service truck. You're going to set it to the proper air pressure, which we're going to set it for 17. And the reason we do that, it only needs to have 15 PSI in the tire, but we set it for 17 so that once we fill it up, we always lose a couple of pounds when we pop that off of the wheel fitting, right? So we'll set this for 17, fill it up. Once we're done, we take that off, put the cap back on, and then we can just come right over here and lift the other tire off the ground, spin it. Kind of dark in there, but it's right back there. Pull that cap off, fill it up, put it back together. So that's the process, and this little board just makes it easier to get one wheel off the ground so you can easily access that fitting. One other way you can do, if you don't want to really go whole hog and spring for a 2x4. Ken, you want to hold this? I don't want to damage your fancy mirror here. Yeah, we just keep that off the ground. So what we can do here is we can walk this, we'll just go this way a little bit. And there we can see the valve stem has presented itself, so we can fill it up there. And then we can spin this one around on the top, find it, and reach up under there. So either way, most people find it easier using this little 2x4 trick. And when you straighten the Segway up, be gentle with it, because these rims have a metal insert that can bend. If you just slam it down on that tire and it has a pretty hard contact, sometimes it can bend your rim and give you a little bit of wheel wobble. So wheel wobble, here's a bonus we weren't planning to talk about. If you're riding your Segway and you notice it just kind of, the tire moving in and out, that's called wheel wobble. Wheel wobble is just caused by hitting a curve or maybe taking it out of your car and letting it land a little hard on the wheel. It doesn't really affect the Segway at the low speeds we travel. If we were doing 70 or 80, it might set up a pretty good vibration, but it's really nothing to worry about. If you ever have that situation and want to correct it, just bring it by our shop. We'll take care of it for you. It takes 5 minutes. Some of you have seen me do it. I take another Segway tire, turn the machine over, slam that tire down onto the rim, and just bend it back into place. So, not something we want to demonstrate here. But we do have a video that we can send out if someone wants to try it at home. If you have two Segways, it's easy because you have an extra Segway tire. Briefly, I want to touch on this. Have any of you ever had a handlebar that's kind of leaning over on one side? Yep. Sometimes it happens when you have a crash, like if you were to run into a light pole or something, Bruce. Yeah. Who's our most recent light pole victim?
That would be Jeff.
Okay, someone has taken the prize from Bruce, so Jeff was able to see what that was like on our last trip. But when that gets out of alignment, most of you probably have the, this is the El Clasico Segway model. It's the older version, produced prior to 2015. The only difference is the newer ones have a little headlight up front, tail light in the rear. Two different ways to adjust that handlebar. On these units, the El Clasico model, right down here where I'm pointing, if you can see this, there's a little bolt in there. So you basically just unscrew that bolt, and the handlebar will move easily back and forth. Get it straight, then tighten that bolt back up. That simple. And somewhere I have a tool that we use to do that. You can buy these, it's a little multi-tool. It comes from, I think this is probably from Lowe's or Home Depot. But it has all the different hex. This uses a hex. It's I'm not sure, it may be a number 5 hex, but all your sizes are on here. On the newer models, the SE models, those models have a little different way to access the screws. On those models, you'll have a smaller emblem. It's about half the size of this one. You just pull that emblem off, and you'll see 4 bolts behind the emblem. Those are a star, or what's the other? Come on, guys. Torx, yeah. There's Torx, or also called star. It's a different fitting or different head. That's what you use to take the 4 bolts and loosen them up, straighten up your handlebar, and then tighten the 4 bolts back. So that's how you adjust that that lean steer issue. And you can always call us if you have any questions. We love the easy questions, and that's one of them. One of the last things we're going to talk about is your info key battery. So if you notice, one of the numbers you see at the top of your key is the time. And the time is kind of how you tell if your internal battery is getting low. When you start your Segway, yeah, with that button right there, when you push that down, if your time resets to 12 o'clock, that tells you that the battery in the key is starting to get low. That's the first sign you want to change that battery. And they're just, I think I have a few here in my pocket. I think they're a 2430. 2430, yep, little battery just like that. You can buy these on Amazon, you can buy them at Batteries Plus, but it's a special battery that is used mainly in welding helmets. So you're not going to find a welding helmet battery at CVS or Walgreens or Target, so don't even waste your time. They do have them at Batteries Plus. Best bet is just to go to Amazon, and when you buy them on Amazon, please buy the one that's going to say Sony or Everready. It's a brand name. Do not buy the ones that are 10 cents each, made in Romania, because they're going to last you about 5 minutes. We have people that bring on a whole sleeve. They say, something's wrong with my key, the battery keeps dying, and I look at the battery, I'm like, yeah, Romania isn't known for their lithium-ion batteries, folks, so that's the battery you want to use. So to get to that, you're going to simply take your key, slide it onto the handlebar, and then you're going to turn it counterclockwise, just like you're unscrewing a jar lid, and you'll hear a little pop, about a quarter turn, and then you're going to be looking at the back of your key. And you'll notice there's a little slot right there, about the size of a quarter. So you're going to take your new battery and you're going to twist open. I don't know if I can do this with. Ken, do you need a new battery? Okay, so we're going to do this for the video. You're going to take your new key, and you're going to turn that little hatch about a quarter of a turn, and it's going to expose the battery. All right, you're going to take that battery out, put your new battery in, and be careful. There's a tiny rubber gasket all around the edge, so make sure that gasket stays in place. Going to turn it nice and snug, toss your old battery, and then you're going to set that key right back on the key holder, turn it a quarter turn, it's going to snap in place, and you're ready to go. So just remember, when that time changes to 12 o'clock, you'll notice the screen maybe fade a little bit. When that happens, go ahead and change that battery, because if you get out on a ride and you're at the end of the life of that battery, you may stop for lunch, go back out, and your key will not work at all. Once again, you're stranded with your Segway. They're not that hard to push, but getting up those tunnels is going to be tough. Yes, Keith? Good. Yep, I thought about this morning. We had this happen on the last ride. Sometimes the key will get what we call static lockup. You'll be riding along, your key is working fine, and then you go to step off and maybe lock it or change the speed. The key is on, it's all bright, everything looks good, but none of the buttons are working. Okay? These things will break, but all 4 buttons are not going to break at the same time. So if you're pushing buttons, nothing's happening on the key, that means you've got static lock. Somehow the static from your wheels on the ground has gotten into that key and locked it up. So once again, you just put it on your Segway, turn it a quarter turn, take the battery out, and then just put the battery right back in. That's going to fix it, right guys? Yeah, several of you have had this happen. It happens more in cold weather, but and you can also call us. If you get out and you forget, oh my gosh, what do I do? Just call the office, 352-383-9900. These days it comes right here, no matter what time of day. So I'll be there to help, and we can get you going.
How long do you wait, Kathy, for when you plug it in? Like on mine, I plug mine in and it takes it probably 15 or 20 seconds before the green bar starts, the green light starts to show in here. And first it's going to be a solid green light, and that does its charging. When the machine is fully charged, the solid green lights turns into flashing 2 green lights.
Yeah, if you get past 10 seconds and you're not getting any light, that usually means that that plug may be just not going in far enough. Okay, but that's a good point regarding batteries. Green lights mean go, red lights mean stop. No light, what would you do at a traffic light? If there was no light, you would stop. It's an automatic stop sign. So that kind of goes the same way with the Segway. If you plug it in and you don't get any lights, call me. Now the long green light tells you that it's in a full charge. The flickering light tells you that it's in a trickle charge. If you don't leave the Segway plugged in at all times, you will eventually kill the batteries. The batteries are $1,100 each, and there are 2 batteries on the Segway. If you leave it unplugged, the electronics are always on, so they're always using some power off the battery. So if you let that sit for a few weeks, it's very likely that you could come out and you notice, oh, I have a red light on my Segway. Red light means you have a bad battery. So if you leave it plugged in all the time, if you have the new extended range batteries, they behave differently. They'll come on green solid, and then they'll flicker, and then they'll turn off. There's no light. So then you come out and you go, oh my God, I forgot to plug it in. You look at your key, you've got the 8 bars, you plug it in, it turns green. And sometimes the new batteries turn red, and then they turn green. So why they changed it after, I don't know how many years, I don't know. Some of you have bought the newer extended range batteries. We recommend you using those with a timer. So it charges at about 6 to 8 hours a day and then turns off. Comes back on when the charger comes back on and restarts that charge cycle. The newer batteries are a completely different animal. They get about 50% more range, supposedly. So instead of going 24 miles on this unit, you could theoretically go 30, 36 miles, who knows.
The only thing I would add is you need one of these plastic bags to go inside this little web pouch. That plastic bag should have an extra key battery. Okay, so that if something happens and you're on the right and the battery craps out on you, you got another battery. A quarter, so that you can open up that battery case to get to it. You should also have in this little pouch your insurance card or insurance page from your insurance policy showing that your machine is actually insured and you're covered. I also put in mine a little business card, so that if I happen to be out alone, I happen to fall, somebody was going to, if they find this, they'll call Louise and say, Ken's on the side of the road someplace, come and get him.
And we don't know what happened to a Segway.
And that's kind of it. So, this is a handy dandy little thing. It fits right in this little pouch and inside the machine, and it's great. So, I'd highly recommend that.
Florida statute.
Oh, in the Florida statute, I also keep in my machine, right there. I actually had mine embossed so that it's not going to shrivel up if it gets wet. And on mine, I even keep the letter that we got from the Southwest Florida Water Management District, which says that we're allowed on their property.
Yeah.
So those are good things to have. And then last but not least, we've now upgraded our ride instruction letter. And that ride instruction letter says two things. It says, the night before you're going to ride the machine, check your air pressure in your tires and make sure that you've got the appropriate 15 pounds in that pressure in the tires. We have seen, at least on one ride, where a couple of people didn't have 15 pounds and weren't able to complete the rides, either kind of bail out early, so that's important. And the second thing we do is we ask you the night before to start up your machine with the key, so that you'll know that the machine's, you've got pretty good confidence the machine's going to start in the morning. Now, I would also caution you this: do not try to start the machine when it's plugged in. Make sure you unplug the machine, because if you don't, you try to start it, the machine's going to give you all kinds of noise. It's not pretty. So I guess that's the only thing I would add to what Dave said.
One thing I forgot to mention, I know some of you use just a standard bicycle pump to pump up your tires. If that's the case, you want to, these are like, I don't know, 10 or 12 bucks up at Advanced Auto. It's a digital air gauge, okay? So you can see very specifically that you have 17 pounds in your tire. This is what we use in the shop. You push a button, the little digital display comes on, and it'll tell you, 16.8 pounds, so it's real accurate. But if you're really into the super duper Binford 5000 model, Bruce has one. If you want to hold that up, it's got a whole bunch more stuff than mine does, but really easy to use. And I think Bruce is going to send an email out. One of the best things about this, it has a special attachment. So when you push it on that valve stem, it automatically grabs it. You're not having to hold it on with your hand and pinch it around under there. It's got basically a quick grab and a quick release. Bruce always has the best toys.
Well, when we ended up buying our Segways, and I tried to put the air in my tires. I have one of those ones that you have to flip it. You have to push on hard, and then you have to flip it to get it to grab on there. Otherwise, it leaks and all. And I just couldn't get that down. I mean, the little space that I had to use in the Segway, I just couldn't get it to push on and lock and all this stuff. And I said, there's got to be a better way. So I searched for about 2 weeks on the internet every time I got a chance. And I found this one company, it's an American company out of Pennsylvania or something like that, called Jacko. And that's what they make, is these gauges and stuff like that, and little pumps and all. But it is amazing. You can go online and see it happen. And all you do is you hold it like this, and you just take that valve and you just push it on the valve. There's nothing to lock on, there's nothing to clip. You don't have to go like this. It just pushes on and it locks on there. And then, so you can really get down inside there. To get it off, you just have a little button here, you just push the button and it pops right off. I use it on the cars, the golf cart and everything else. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And there's no other company that makes it. They have a patent on it. Ken got one. Ken, that's exactly the way it works, right? I mean, it's unbelievable.
But you need a compressor with that, right?
Well, you need it. Well, they sell it several ways. It's 22 bucks for the hose, 22 bucks for the hose itself, and it's got a universal fitting. So if you have a compressor that you can do that, that works. Otherwise, the entire thing was like $39. And it's a real quality gauge. It really does tell very accurate and all. But this is just unbelievable. If anybody wants to try it, if you have a fitting that you can just a quick connect or whatever, you're welcome to come on over the house and grab it.
I
Are
talked.
you selling these now?
Actually, I'm selling them, but I don't get any commission. I did call the factory and talk to the owners, and I said, we've got a Segway club, and I said, you know, there is a problem doing the tires. And I said, if I got a bulk order, would you be able to do anything better than the price that you have? And he said, yes, if I had 10 or more, that they would do a discount, probably 10% or something like that. So if you want to try it out, you're welcome to try it out. And if you want to place an order, just let me know. And if I get 10 people who want it, I'll try to get us a discount. Okay? Okay, well, I think that was very informative, and thank Dave for spending the time to do it. I know he's got a busy day today.
I'm gonna head to work. Thanks, everybody.
Now he's having his fun for the day he's going to work.
Still have to do that occasionally. And yeah, we are, as most of you know, we're doing only service now. We're basically doing all of the factory repairs that were being done at the factory are being done in Mount Dora. So anything you need to have done, give us a call. And happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year to everyone. And we'll see you down the road on the next ride, I guess.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks, Dave.